Hi everyone. I had a subscriber ask me to do a video on how to prevent injury and what I do if I have injuries. And I'm not so sure that I'm the best person to talk about this because I haven't had a ton of injuries, but maybe I am a good person to talk about this because I haven't had a ton of injuries. Today I'm going out for a run. It's a super nice day. There's no wind, or very little. So my goal today is just to be out for an hour and a half. I'm going for time and it'll be slow. I'm gonna run, walk, and I'm gonna listen to some music. And I thought I would talk to you a little bit more about injury prevention as I ran. But I'm going to catch you a little bit later in the run because the GoPro battery is almost dead. So I'm going to let that charge a bit while I run, and then I'll come back and rejoin you. I have been ultra running for 2 years, and I have been running for about 9. These are the worst problems that I've had. I've had sciatic issues. I've had sore hips, headaches, sore toes, tingling in my feet, and the general soreness from running, which everyone gets. I would say that my general philosophy about having a healthy life is to eat well, get enough sleep, drink enough water, and avoid stress. I know, avoiding stress can be very hard, but all these things, sleep, rest, water, avoiding stress, is also going to help your running life. Okay, things I do to keep injury away. I think runners over time become highly in tune with their bodies, and they notice different things going on. And so I guess the biggest thing is to listen to your body. And if there's something that hurts or is sore, then take it easy, or take a rest day, or don't run, take a bike ride instead. Another thing I do is I have a variety of shoes. I prefer the Ultra Zero Drop Lone. I wear the Lone Peak, and these are my preferred shoe. I just really like the flatness of them, and I feel that helps me run more towards the front of my foot, and to place the impact of running on the front or the mid part of my feet. But I also run a lot in the Hoka Challenger, and I also run in the Hoka Bondi. Love those shoes, lots of cushion. And then I run in kind of a neutral shoe, the Brooks Ghost. So I'm always mixing up the shoe rotation. By rotating the shoes and wearing different shoes, that I'm strengthening the muscles in my feet and in my ankles. Before runs, I warm up. And I do warm-ups with dynamic stretches, which are stretches that are moving, leg swings, arm rolls, anything that's moving. I don't like to stretch cold. I just feel cold stretching, you risk stretching a cold muscle and hurting it. So I just do a nice little warm-up, and sometimes even at the start of the run, I'll just fast walk for a quarter of a mile or less. I am about 40 minutes in, and stop back to get the camera, and I'm gonna have some Bywater. This is like
my favorite. It's kind of a treat. It's not an energy drink. I just really like it.
I think one of the most important things for avoiding injury is to have a very gradual buildup of mileage. Whether you're training for a half marathon, a marathon, or an ultra marathon, I usually start from scratch when I'm training. I take off 2 months every year, and then I just start at mile 1. And gradually I build my long runs up to 3 miles, 5 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles. But doing it very slow gets your body, your heart, your muscles, your bones, everything used to that running motion. And I believe that will help avoid injuries.
Okay, here's one of my biggest fans. That's Little Rotunda. He's almost a year now. He's so cute. So, just want to tell you, if you take any of my advice, just consider the source. I am, by nature, a pretty cautious person, so I'll probably almost always err on the side of caution. And not everybody's like me, and everybody's different, and their journey's different.
I also do a lot of cross training. In the summer, I get my bike out, and I bike a few times a day. Not even long bike rides, just maybe 3 miles. And I'll do that a couple times a day. I also cross train by walking fast. In the winter, I get on my elliptical for the cross training. I will jump rope. I'll get on an exercise bike. But all these exercises that are cross training are working some muscles that you might necessarily not work when you're running, and it just kind of keeps things balanced, I think.
Hoping to be a runner for the long haul. And so I'm trying to figure out what's sustainable for me to keep running and to keep running the long distances. It's easy to get burnout, and I don't want that to happen. So for me, if running slower is what makes it enjoyable, that's what I'm going to do.
Also, the core exercises and the strength exercises are so good for keeping injury away. Doing your squats, that's going to strengthen up all those muscles around your knees. Strengthening your upper body with dumbbells. It doesn't seem like you maybe need your arms for running, but a whole body that's strong is just going to keep you standing up straight. I had it one year. I ran my first marathon, and then in the time between my first and second marathons, I started doing strength and core work. And my second marathon, I took 24 minutes off my time. Now, some of that is probably due to just increased fitness, but I do believe that a lot of it is also due to strengthening my whole body. Another thing I do is I try to run on trails and gravel roads as much as possible. I just read a book about the Kenyan runners, and in Kenya, a lot of these elite runners are running on gravel roads and dirt paths. And then when these Kenyans come to the United States, they try to find paths and trails to run on earth. That's a lot easier on your joints and your body running on the earth rather than concrete.
There is something I just thought of that I will do, which I think helps prevent injury, and that is I get massages later on in training, and for sure after races. And my husband isn't gonna like me probably telling you this, but he massages my feet almost every night, so I do think that really helps. Don't tell Jeff I told you.
I do things like take baths, warm baths with Epsom salts. I'm not sure if the Epsom salts help, but it's enjoyable. And I also have a foam roller, which I'll use especially towards the end of my training when my quads they get really sore, and it just helps to just kind of roll those out. I also do a lot of yoga, especially when the training it gets a little bit more intense towards the end when I'm running, long runs of 15 or 20 miles. Everything in your body seems to get tight and sore, and I find that yoga, slow yoga, just loosens everything up and kind of shifts all those muscles and things back into place, and it's almost like a miracle how just a half hour of doing these slow yoga moves can make me feel so much better. So my biggest problem has been knee pain during races, and it usually doesn't develop till about 20 miles in, and then it's just kind of this sort of dull pain when I land on that leg. And I had it in my first ultramarathon, and I developed that at mile 18, and it hurt really bad, and I took a lot of ibuprofen and the pain lessened, and I finished the race. Now, I don't really like to take that much ibuprofen, and I wouldn't tell anybody else to do it. Now, also during races, mine's a Spain, I had a terrible toe problem. I think what happened is I must have hit my toe on a rock pretty hard early on in the race, and then it just started hurting. And so I think for that problem, I'm going to look for a little bit better of a trail shoe, one that maybe has a harder cap on the front. So if you do hit a rock, maybe I wouldn't have that problem. Now with sciatic pain, I find that yoga usually helps, and if the sciatic pain gets really bad, I do yoga every day. Early on when I was running, I would develop headaches, really low-grade nagging headaches after long runs, and I figured out that I wasn't drinking enough water. So I have not had any running headaches since then because I drink enough water. I think headaches are something I dread the most. It just can really be debilitating. I also have had sore hips where, the ball in the socket in your hips, just a real aching. And I had that, I think, my first year when I started ultra running. And I found that yoga took care of that too. And I no longer have that issue.
And that's a wrap. Hour and a half. I got 7 miles in. I was hoping for closer to 7.5, but the filming took some time.
I'm not a fast runner. My fastest races have been probably at the 9:15 pace, and that's for a half marathon. But when I'm running ultra marathons on trails, my pace is 15-minute or greater pace, depending on the race and how long the race is. So I'm not a fast runner, and I walk a lot during ultra races. Also, my running form is not like a fast elite runner. I'm not picking my knees up high. I'm more of a shuffler and a plotter. I do try to make an effort to run more on the front of my foot or have a midfoot strike and not land on my heel, because that's pretty jarring. I don't feel bad about being a plotter, especially in seeing that I enjoy running ultra races. If you've ever read Pam Reed's book, she's a older woman ultra runner, and she's won a lot of races, and she says she's kind of a shuffler too, and she's trying to conserve her energy, so she doesn't want to pick her knees up or lift her heels up too high. I kind of have that mindset that shuffling is okay for me, and ultra running is what I've chosen, and the shuffling pace is what seems to work best for me, and I'm not getting injured. Everyone is different, and what works for some doesn't work for others. And yeah, so you just have to find what feels good to you and go with it.
So I guess running for me is about adventure, and you know what my body can do, and really almost every run I think about that race in the Mattahay in North Dakota. My heart is just out on that trail and at that race. Yeah, it's a big adventure, and I want to do it as long as possible. So that's why I'm really cautious, and yeah, trying not to get injuries.